If you don't pick your training partners in some capacity of your life, all your training partners will always be picked for you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Badass Dad podcast, where we are a band of brothers committed to forging stronger fathers. Hey, get connected with us. You can go to our website, new and updated website, BadAssDads.org. That is BadAssDads.org. Hey, sign up for our email list where you'll be getting the most up-to-date content and some behind-the-scenes things as well as exclusive content. Follow us on Instagram at Badass Dads Podcast. You can also do me a favor. My one ask for you is subscribe and write a review and rate this podcast. Give us 5 stars, leave us a review. We're going to be sending out some swag, some t-shirts and things to people who leave a review for us. So please do that and follow us on all those different forms. Have a badass day. Welcome to the Badass Dad podcast. KDH here on the microphone in the Iron Yeti studios with, once again, my buddy, Sean Buck Rogers.
What's up, bro?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got a lot of things that are going on in your world right now and, making a transition. We talked about this a little bit before, but I wanted to just check in and see, how you're doing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, when people make transitions, and we're going to talk about training partners is really the subject of today. But, when you're active duty or when you have a job or whatever, you wake up, the hours you got to get to work, the hours you'll get off and you go. But now all of a sudden, there's no schedule, unless it's self-imposed schedule. And I have found that people, entrepreneurs, I was about your age. I was a little over 30. I think I was 31, 32 years old when we went into business, and I was 32 years old. And so, up until then, I'd had a couple of different stuff that I'd done. But when I was teaching and coaching, we knew when school started and knew when school ended, those kind of things. So, but to come up with your own schedule is really one of the most difficult things for someone who is an entrepreneur. How has that been for you? Just, blocking out time because you got a wife who's pregnant.
Yeah.
And you got a daughter who needs attention.
Right.
And you got crazy school schedule. Kids are in school, not in school, just all that. So,
yeah. And that computer system she's on is just garbage. She's like, I can't click on it. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, that's it. Honestly, has been one of the harder things. At first, I failed miserably at it, and I'm still in the at first phase. But what I did initially, just the minute that I finally got some time to myself to start making my own schedule, is I way overdid it, and it became. I instantly took myself out of a job, and then went into a job.
Yeah. And
that was like, what am I doing? This isn't what I want. Like I'm starting to pursue this new life so I could be more comfortable and be happier and, live the life that I want. But it's like you're so conditioned to just be busy all the time that you start just like throwing things in. I'm trying to make connections over here and over here. I'm trying to network. I'm trying to do all these things.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, some of those things start panning out, and it's like, oh crap! I don't know if these panning out was a good idea. I don't know if I even thought about this like completely and all the way through. And so then I had to. Luckily, I got a hold of The One Thing. I started listening to that book, and that changed the game because I was like, okay, I'm going about this the wrong way. I need to step back and say, what is the one thing that's super important? What is my true passion in life right now? And how do I attack that wholeheartedly to make it the biggest success that it can be? And then I'll start focusing on, what's next after that. And that changed everything. All of a sudden I went from this like constant, I went from one job to just creating my own chaos and not having enough time and stressing myself out. And then I just took a breather, stepped back, focusing on the book. Let's make the book as good as we can, in the FNG podcast, and let's just focus on these things. Just to me, they're tied together, So
how's the book coming?
So
give us a little progress report.
Yeah. So Scribe took it. We got the title locked in. What else did we get locked in? So they're editing it right now for the first revision.
Okay.
So then I should hear back this week with their recommendations But everything from them so far has been extremely positive.
Good.
So it's, which is kind of crazy, right? You write something, and then I reread it 20 times. I rewrote it 3 times, and I was like, I sent it to them like, well, hopefully they could polish a turd.
Yeah. Well, it'll be good. We should also, document, the progress, that is going on there, because I think it'd be good for people, because, there could be guys, like Devin's working on a book. We got a couple other guys that are working on books and things. I'm working on a book, but it'd be good just to, have this for people to listen to. And, I had a great mentor of mine, really from a distance. And it's fun because in the world we live in now, you can have mentors that you never meet. You can get them through podcasts, you can get them through books, you can get them through, social media. There's a lot of different ways that you can, have these, relationships, but this was long before all that. But Rick Susie was a guy, and he wrote a book that was actually called How to Stay Focused in an Unfocused World.
Nice.
And it was so important because for me, he was teaching me, when you're in business, you better be focused, because there's a world of mass, distraction going on all around us. And how do you get that one thing done that you need to get done? And whatever it is, in a lot of businesses, it's going to be prospecting. How do you get out there and prospect? How do you develop the client list? How do you make sure you follow up at the right time? If you're writing, how do you set aside the time to write? All of a sudden, people talk about writer's block. I think it's a myth. I don't know. I'm not a professional writer, but if you make time to write, then you just write. You go out and you write your 1,000 words, your 2,000 words. Yep. And I know Steven's over here going, yeah, Kevin, why aren't you doing that? Because I know what to do.
Right. Well, I think that's an important thing that I've learned so far. Yeah. So if you're out there and you want to write a book,
yep.
And from what I'm learning from kind of going through the process with Scribe and having them help me, and their reactions to the why of the book and the what and everything, and all the positivity that comes from that, I think, it ties in with writer's block. If you, like Devin, if you have something you want to say, and you're writing the book because you have something you want to say that's important to you and that's powerful to you and that's meaningful to you, then it's important. A lot of people forget, and this is something I'm starting to figure out, is that people write books because they want to sell books. And that's not what we're doing here. That's not why I'm writing this book. I know it's not why you wrote it.
Right.
And I know that's not why Devin's venturing down this writing a book path either.
Yeah.
We have something to say, and we want to get it out there to help people and to get our story across. We're not in that group of people that are like, I'm going to write a book because I want to sell books and I want people to know my name and I want to be an author. Because then you have to come up with the idea.
Right.
And then once that idea is written down, now you have to come up with another one.
Idea. Yep, exactly.
But we're not having to do that.
Right.
This may well be the only book I ever write in my entire life. And to be honest, after this process, I'd be fine with that.
Well, it's funny. I've heard a lot of people say that exact same thing. But hey, let's jump into talk. The subject I want to talk about today is training partners. I have shared. Talbot and I came up with forging stronger fathers, and I kind of added to the beginning of it a band of brothers. Committed to forging stronger fathers. So that band of brothers. I'm translating it a little bit today into training partners. And, I want you to bring it, from a Green Beret standpoint, we'll definitely be talking some jujitsu as well, and even business. But, I want to talk about the roles and the importance of having training partners. One, what's the old proverb? It says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. You go as a team. And so I want to talk about training partners there. And then, how do you start finding training partners also? So talk at the beginning, just the importance of having high quality training partners and what that means.
So it's funny that you mentioned that and picked this topic. So I didn't know we were talking about this before we got here. But it's exactly what I'm going through right now with all this time. And without going to a job, that could free you up to two things. And I just was reading in the 48 Laws of Power yesterday, and he's talking about if you build yourself, you isolate yourself in a castle for protection, you just made yourself the most vulnerable person in the world, because now everyone knows who you are. You're cut off from society. You don't know what's going on, and you become a target.
Yeah.
So when you start this not working a normal job, you're no longer like associated with people because you're around them and you have to go to work together, right? So now all of a sudden you get to pick your associations, and that's a crazy thing, or you get to pick your training partners. And so that like, you know, from jiu-jitsu and, you know, you guys like to remind me on the jiu-jitsu thread that I ghosted for a while.
Yeah.
And that ghosting period was super important for me. First of all, for my mental health, for my PTSD and focusing on that in my family. But second, it was an opportunity for me to hit the pause button. Don't call me because you're used to calling me because we connect about work. You know what I mean? Let me take enough of a break to where the people that are calling me because they want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And not to get gossip as to why I haven't been at work and all that bullshit. Like, I needed time away to pick my training partners.
Yeah.
And part of that is coming, like today I have at 4:00, I got a meeting with two of the guys that I picked. You know, my buddy Tom, my buddy Kurt. We're going to do a leadership conference, accountability conference, we'll call it. And we're just going to, you know, have a finger of whiskey and talk about each other's goals and then keep each other accountable for those goals. So those are two, and then you, and then, you know, if you're in my life, you know who you are.
Yeah.
You're the training partners that I picked.
Yeah. Well, let's just be honest real quick. It's not going to be a finger of whiskey.
No, it'll be, well,
it might be a couple fists.
Right. I mean, whose fingers are you looking at?
Okay.
You know what
I
mean? I got some chunky fingers
there you
too.
go.
A couple fingers of whiskey for me is like half a bottle.
Well, you know, the training partners, what is so great is in many environments, our training partners are assigned to us. It's just the team we happen to be on. Yep. And so then we have to adapt and overcome and figure out who plays what roles. But as you progress through life, you start to realize that I have more and more choice at who my real training partners are going to be. And, you know, I would tell you, for me, I spent so much of the last 20 years in business, you know, being super selective with who my training partners would be. And here's why. You know the story. We adopted our boys coming up on 10 years ago now. And I would tell stories the previous 10 years. And I would use this phrase over. I'm going to tell you, this is the phrase I would use when I was talking about someone that would possibly be in our business or someone else that I knew was going to spend time with me. Because I realized that the people that I surround myself with, I have an impact on them, okay, leadership, but I know they also have an impact on me. Therefore, they will impact my kids. And I would tell this story over and over and over again because people eventually ask, so Kevin, what really drives you? And I say, you know what? I want to walk my second grade son into class, holding his hand, kneel down, kiss him on his lips, and him go to school. And I understand the people that I'm surrounded with, they're going to have an impact on if I'm able to do that or not. Now, of course, you can't walk your kids to school right now. Can't go into their classroom,
right?
You know, but we need to understand that as badass dads, man, our training partners not only affect us, they affect all those people underneath our roof, our spouses, our kids. You know, and I believe we should have training partners in multiple different areas of our life. If there's an area we want to get better at, we should find superior training partners. The advantage I had, and I think maybe some of my jiu-jitsu journey, even though I didn't have any background in that, maybe progressed a little bit, that every single person I trained with early on, you feel this a little bit now, okay, but was a purple belt or above. And here I am, a white belt, you know, with no background. And so I'm forced to step my game up and learn very quickly. Well, if you're in an environment, and most of us, you know, birds of a feather flock together, we hang out with people that make the same kind of money we make, drive the same kind of thing, live in the same kind of house, those kind of things. So we wonder why we can't move out of that financial situation. You start hanging out with people that operate at a different level financially, your eyes start opening. You step your game up or you change the peer group.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're out of shape and you start hanging out with people that are in shape, either your fat ass makes some adjustments,
right,
and you start a podcast called BadAssDads, okay? Or you make some adjustments.
Which you don't want to be invited to.
Right. Or you make some adjustments there. And I mean, we could go spiritually with that. We could talk in a bunch of different areas. You know, if you wanted to be a better dad, if you started hanging out with dudes, you know, you go, man, I just like the relationship they have with their kids. You could do that. So I think the selection process that you have in your training partners is unbelievably important. So let me ask you this question. What if you have a training partner that is, I don't know, going off the rails? you know, you see the direction they're going. They're still part of the group, but you don't like the direction they're going, and that, you know, this isn't what you signed up for. What do you do in a situation where you got this training partner?
You don't want to ask me that question. I'm the wrong person to ask. Like, if you thought that was going to go a positive,
no, take it where it needs to go.
Okay, because for me, you're out.
You're out.
You're out.
Okay.
Like,
cut the cancer out.
Get out.
Yep.
Like, I don't have time for it.
Yep.
My biggest pet peeve is people that always have ideas, but they never have any follow through.
Yep.
And it irritates the shit out of me, because it's like that bleeds over to people that do follow through.
Yeah.
Like, whether we like it or not, no matter how many times I say I'm going to do something and then go and do it, people are still going to doubt, because so many people around them say they're going to do something, they never do it.
Yep.
And it just drives me nuts. So if you're that type of person, it's like, oh, dude, this would be a great idea.
Yeah.
And you truly believe in it, but then there's never any follow through whatsoever. It's like, dude, you got to go.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, if I say I'm going to do something, my team around me, my training partners, they believe it.
Yeah.
And they know it's going to happen. It could come out like the YouTube that I started. It's not great. I mean, it looks like crap. And
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. But you know what? I said I was going to do it. And damn it, those videos are getting posted every Saturday. You know, and in the book, I said I was going to write a book. You know how many people going in as law enforcement, or you're like, oh, I'm going to write a book. They're like, oh, okay. I'm sure it's going to be something really special. You know, but yeah, if I see someone going down the wrong, sorry, get back to what you're saying.
No.
If I see them going down the wrong path and I don't like where they're going,
Mm-hmm.
I have no issues just cutting the cord and getting rid of that person.
And I think that is very valid, no doubt. And there are certain situations, you know, I think where some people, even myself, you know, could get stuck is going, man, I'm going to go try to save them. I'm going to help. And you know what? Man, it's been a long time from this, but I remember Gretchen and I, when we first met, we worked with some at-risk kids. So they're 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who are finishing their juvenile sentence, getting ready to emancipate back out into society, if you will. And by the way, Gretchen was not one of the teens, okay? Just to be clear, okay? But
you're going down the wrong path. We were talking about you the whole time.
It's totally terrible. But
someone called Gretchen if you're listening, so make sure she's okay.
Some clarification. But I remember getting into an argument with the educational director of this place where we worked, and because one of the kids I was primarily responsible for was not completing their educational program. Mm-hmm. And I was following up with them. Hey, are you doing your stuff? You doing your stuff? Getting your GED? And they weren't doing it. And I remember literally yelling, you know, at this educational director going, I am not going to want this more than they want it. If they don't want it, then they're going to emancipate when they age out, and it's going to be all on them no matter what.
Yeah.
And because I had realized, I fall back in this more times than I care to admit, but I'll go in and I'll feel like I can save someone or help someone or, you know, resurrect them or whatever it is. And that is emotionally draining. And you do that enough, you become emotionally bankrupt. Mm. And, you know, I think many times it is just better just to, you know, cut the cord. And you know what you find when you cut the cord with someone? They either get their shit straight and want to be part of the team, or they don't.
And they're headed that way anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, at some level it is, you got to put the team before, you know, that one relationship.
Yeah.
And that is hard. It is hard. It's hard in business, but it's, you know, it's hard in life, you know?
And to be honest, I've never seen anyone drown after being cut off by me or my family. You know what I mean? It's like and it's harder even for my brother. Like when I tell him, like, my family lives under my roof. Like, my family is my wife and my daughter. And then, you know, God, you know, thank God she's pregnant and we get to, hopefully, you know, everything goes okay and we'll add one more to that. That's my family. Outside of that, you're either someone who contributes to my mental well-being or you're not. You either, like, when I talk to you, and that's a small group. I mean, I'm, you know, 34 and that's literally like 3 people that, like, will never go away. You know what I mean? Like the long-term friends to the end, type people. And how many do you really need of that quality of relationship? You know what I mean?
Well, and that inner circle that you're talking about, it's a sacred area.
Oh, yeah.
And I think some people want to have a bigger inner circle, but then it loses its purpose.
Right.
But you got to be able to have those conversations and be able to have those relationships with guys. And I mean, I really do mean guys in particular, that you get down and dirty with, and, I can't tell you, with the guys that we get to do jujitsu with, and you know what, they give you shit just because they love you. I mean, they could have easily just taken you off the thread, you know what I mean? But they do love you.
Well, I think Mandy was insinuating that the last time. She was like, "Are you still here?"
You got to take Mandy with a grain of salt. Come on now. We both know that.
I know.
But
poor Colin.
Poor Colin.
That's right.
But you know what, though?
I'm just kidding, Mandy. Don't hurt me.
Yeah, don't hurt me. But, for guys, to be there and be on the mats together, I've noticed some of the depth of conversations that we end up having that, once we've tried to kill each other there and choke each other out and break arms and everything else, then we have these conversations. Unbelievable. That is one of the things I probably walked away with and continue to walk with from the jiu-jitsu world in our community. And I don't know, maybe it's unique to the group of guys that we get to hang with, but I feel it's so special, so important. And I just hope that guys find a place to be able to do that. And I don't care if you mountain bike or you're, camping or you like woodworking or whatever it is, but you find a group of guys that you can do some stuff with. And, you work hard and you sweat and you bleed and you laugh and you cry and you tell stories, because if you don't and you think you're going to just isolate and just be good, you're only going to be as good as you are right now.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Well, and I think a big part of that is if you don't pick, and I didn't realize it till we started having this conversation, why martial arts is so important. If you don't pick your training partners in some capacity of your life, all your training partners will always be picked for you. You'll go to work, those guys are picked for you. And if you're only going to associate with a team that was picked for you, you never get control over your influence, how you're influenced. You just become a product of your environment. And so if like I'm blessed enough right now to get to pick my team, but a lot of people don't get that, right? You have to go to work and you have to be part of the team that you're told to be part of. But on your weekends or your mornings before you go to work or your nights before you go home, you get to pick that jiu-jitsu gym. You get to pick that, you are in control of your training partners from that point on. And if you have to have some kind of selection if you want to influence your own life.
Man, that is so good. I mean, the moment you say that, I've had a few guys that have been in my life for multiple decades now. Now coming up on 30 years. But Bill Arender, it's really through my early 20s. I first started teaching and coaching, and through business career has been a father figure to me. He's been a mentor. I mean, and now just an amazing friend, as well. And when you were saying that, I got to give him props for this, but he told me this early on. He goes, Kevin, if you don't have written goals for yourself, written goals for yourself, he goes, you are doomed forever to work to achieve the goals of someone else.
Boom.
And when you're talking about the partners, listen, if you're not going to actively go out and search for your training partners that you're going to have in whatever area you want to get better in or you can lead in, then guess what? You're going to be doomed to work for those other training partners and their goals and what they have.
Yep.
And I think, as you're venturing in, entrepreneurship and all this, that the clearer we get on the direction we want to take the podcast, the projects we want to do, the F&G project, the books, the impact, the speaking events, the seminar, all, YouTube videos, courses, all the different things that we want to talk about doing, the clearer we get on that and the written goals that we have for those, if we don't have those, then we're going to succumb to someone else's written goals. Yeah. And so, the power of training partners, when you're in your training group, okay, the partners that you have, sometimes you're going to get to be the lead. Sometimes you'll be the leader of that group in an area. Sometimes you'll be the F&G, you'll be the new guy. And then a lot of times you'll be in the middle there and understanding that. So, with the jiu-jitsu guys, I'm not the most skilled in jiu-jitsu, don't have the most experience in any of that, but there are some areas that maybe I am a little further down. Maybe I've been married a little bit longer. Maybe I, have some other experiences, with business or finances or whatever, that I can add value to it. So it's not I'm in one position all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have different roles in that group as well.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's why this meeting that me and my buddies Kurt and Tom are having today is so important, because it's like, hey, just because right now, like, he's still in the military, he's still Tom's still a Green Beret, and he's hating it right now. He's trying to go to CAG selection, Delta, and then Kurt's working in the marijuana industry. He's a former Green Beret, but just because you guys are tied up in your jobs right this second, and then God bless me with this freedom, doesn't mean that I'm like the only, somehow the only one that's leading the charge, right? Like, we need to come together and see, because there's so much knowledge and value that they bring to the table. Like, we really need to get our heads together and realize, like you said earlier, you're stronger. If you want to go farther, you go together.
Yeah.
And these guys bring so much to the table. But right now, they're consumed with, they have full-time jobs. And it's like, I got you. Throw your ideas on me. Let me help you. Let me use my time to further your plans.
Yep.
So we could all make this work better, as a team. And like you said, you're not always going to hold the same spot.
Yeah.
My spot, I was over 40-hour a week law enforcement, a month and a half ago.
Right.
Now all of a sudden I'm like, all I think about is the next project and how to advance it and how we're going to work together to make it a reality. And it's like, how I want to use that time and that focus to help as many people as I can, accomplish their things. So,
man, I tell you what, the unbelievable power of a team, it can take us to heights we've never even imagined. It doesn't matter, who you're thinking about. If you're thinking about the Bill Gates of the world, the Steve Jobs of the world, Zuckerberg, they all had teams. They may have been the figurehead, but they're surrounding themselves with teams. And I think, some of the best leaders that I've ever known, their number one focus is to hire and staff up and to, have a great team around them. And it takes courage to be a leader like that, where you're saying, I don't need to be the smartest. I just need to be able to get the smartest around me. I don't need to be the strongest. I need to have the strongest around me. I don't need to be the most emotionally resilient. I need to have those kind of guys around me. And knowing that your ability to put together a solid team, in all areas of life, where you're talking about your faith, finances, fitness, fun, your family, your business. I mean, all those different areas. If you will build a team, you'll build some partners. You'll have so much more fun, I tell you, and you'll make so much bigger impact. So, John, I'm excited about what's going on. I'm excited about where we're going, what we're doing right now, and talk to us a little bit about if people want to connect with you, where they can connect with you. Once again.
So the Instagram's good spots, the BM Customs _ and we just started the YouTube channel, the F&G Academy. Got a couple videos on there right now. It's just kind of focusing on guys going to SFAS.
Nice.
Or girls now going to SFAS. Okay. So helping them, giving some advice. A lot of advice on YouTube for SFAS is from candidates that, may have gotten selected, but they don't know the bigger picture. So just trying to give those guys a big picture mindset idea of and help them get selected.
Well, Buck Rogers, so good to have you on the microphone. Good to see you again, my friend.
You too, man. All
right, hey, have a badass day. Be a badass dad, and we are out. Wait. Steven, stop the music. Okay, if you listen this far, give me 87 more seconds. All I want you to do is please subscribe, leave us a review, leave us a 5-star rating. Do that now. You listen this far, just go ahead and leave us that quick review. Also, go to the Instagram. Follow us on the Instagram, the BadAssDads Podcast there. Go on Facebook, you can follow us there. Go to our website, BadAssDads.org. Register there. You can get all the up-to-date everything from behind the scenes. Get this stuff. You can also find some swag t-shirts and hats and mugs and different things, notebooks there. So please, you listened to this far, give us a few more seconds. Have a badass day.